You are now listening to the UrbanWire podcast on the UrbanWire Media Network, where we shine the light on the issues impacting the urban community. Join us as we discuss the latest in news, politics, social commentary, celebrity news, gossip, interviews, and so much more. This podcast and other podcasts on this network are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Blog Talk Radio. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com/UCOFW and join our Facebook group page and official page for show updates, discussions, and show listings. Email us at ucofw.indy@gmail.com to advertise with us, submit show ideas, and other business inquiries.
Hey, I have a question for you. Are you too busy to keep your chores done? Well, leave it to Crystal Clean. Crystal will help you keep your place clean, balanced, and in tip-top shape. Crystal will arrive fully equipped with her own cleaning supplies, positive energy, and ability to work some beautiful magic into your life. Keep your home your sanctuary and take away some of that stress and worry. You can message her or text her directly to schedule a service at 317-603-5897. Crystal is now specializing in residential and office cleanings, and she's also now servicing Central Indiana, Hamilton County, and Greater Indianapolis. Check her out today.
My brothers and my sisters, as we head into the Thanksgiving holiday and the Christmas season, let us adhere to and govern ourselves as it relates to the principles of the law of reciprocity. Let me break it down to you in layman's terms with a few examples. Example 1, Shaniqua comes to the family Thanksgiving with 6 badass kids and her nothing-ass baby daddy who is out on parole, smelling like dank weed, mildew, and Hennessy. She brings no pop, no rolls, no plasticware, absolutely nothing. Yet she attempts to leave with a trunk full of plates containing leftovers. According to the law of reciprocity, this should not take place. Sorry, Shaniqua, but put those plates back. Example 2, Aunt Jackie picks the greens, she picks the KYs and cleans the KYs, bakes the sweet potato pies, make the potato salad, and provides the off-brand Kroger Pops. She is entitled and has the first dibs over the leftovers. You latecomers and leeches will just have to wait your turn. In this example, we see how the law of reciprocity is supposed to work. In summary, in life we must give in order to receive. If someone is gracious enough to invite you to partake in the holiday festivities, the least you can do is be appreciative and not run game or take advantage. Happy holidays, season's greetings, or season's beatings. You choose. All right, we are here with another edition of the Urban Wire, brought to you by the Urban Wire Media Network, where we shine the light on issues impacting the urban community. Now, we got a wonderful jam-packed show that's here for you guys today. We're going to do something a little different. We got some new guests on the show. We got a new lineup. We have on my right, I don't know how it looks on your screen, everyone, but we have Sue here, my buddy Sue, and he has his lovely, illustrious partner in crime, Miss Naz. So I'm going to introduce you to the public, to the Urban Wire family. Like we were talking about how we want to change some things up for 2024. So I'm going to allow you guys to introduce yourself. Sue, a good friend of mine. He's a local comedian. You do promotion too, like promoter. He's a jack of all trades. Like he's very supportive. He supports a lot of the local talent around the city. He's a really huge believer in supporting local artists, comedians, and things of that nature. So I'm going to allow him to introduce himself and tell them, what do you expect to bring to the Urban Wire podcast?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sue. I hope you're all doing well this holiday season. I'm bringing 40 years of wealth and knowledge to the Urban podcast. I served in the military, Army to be exact, and I was a paratrooper with deployments to Iraq and Afghanistan. I've been to 6 of the 7 continents in this world. I have 3 children. Unfortunately, not by you, dear. I'm sorry about that.
Let's not get into that.
Oh, boy. But you can see this is going to be a very, very, like Seneca said, jam-packed show, dear, right?
Mm-hmm. Starting off strong, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we might want to just kind of move it over to the left and introduce Miss Naz over here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what do you expect and what do you expecting out of this new experience that we're doing, and what do you plan on bringing to the Urban Wire podcast?
All right, so I'm Naz Parrish, and I am actually his handler. Let's call it that. Ooh. His handler, and
I'm throwing shade already.
Just truth. So, So actually, I am a writer and soon to be a business owner. Once I get everything settled, I do work a lot with various spices from Africa and Asia, and I wish to get those packaged soon and in stores. And I'm here more so, I'm not very big on pop culture in general. My degree is in history, so I bring a viewpoint from history and sociology and those kinds of things. And I'm here more for like stats and just feedback as a woman in the group. And
we got to mix it up. I really want to bring a diverse point of view to the Urban Wire podcast, because I know that these days and times we kind of need a diverse or variety of viewpoints on certain things. We need to all try to come together as an American people, and I really wanted to build a platform to where we can all come together and bring different points of view. We can come together and talk about things as humans, because at the end of the day, we're all humans and we're all trying to navigate through this thing called life. So I really want to thank you guys for embarking on this journey. We're going to have different guests come on. We're going to probably tape a couple times a month. We're going to work with everybody's schedule, but we're going to have different artists come on. We're going to really promote the Indianapolis scene as far as musicians, different talent. We're going to also bring people on air that can also give you news that you can use as far as economics, as far as I want to do things that just kind of can empower the people. So I really want to thank you guys. But before we get started with what we're going to talk about tonight, I want to you had a couple shows that were coming up, and I wanted to drop those on you guys so you can kind of get an idea of what Sue does. And I'm going to go to his first flyer, and he's going to tell you about his events that are coming up. So this is the one that's the Oshun open mic. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what can the people expect from that particular?
So my cousin Bailey Oshun
Okay.
runs an open mic. It's more of a showcase. It's a $15 ticket to Wonderful, and there's wonderful talent from across the cities. We've had a songstress, we've had rappers, we've had comedians, poets, a saxophonist. One time I missed out on it. We even had a ventriloquist. You can see it's a wonderful event that's held at Wonderful on January 3rd, Wednesday, starting anywhere from about 8 to CP time, of course. And
put that CP time in there now.
Yeah. But, it's a wonderful, wonderful event that she hosts monthly.
All right. And then we have another event that I want to share with you guys as well. Can you tell us about this particular event?
This one is from my buddy. He's a producer from out of state, Andrew. And he's going to host a one-way to Vegas, where the possibility of either a comedian and a musician, whether it be a rapper, a R&B singer, will get the best showcase and do it on 420 in Las Vegas. I myself, since I've been working a lot with the local talent and getting them on board on stage time, will be the headliner for that January 20th show. Not a full-blown headline. You don't have to hear me talk for 40 minutes. I'm no Chris Rock, but I'm going to definitely give him all my all since it's my birth month this next month.
All right. We want to thank you for that. I want to get a couple of housekeeping things out of the way before we jump into the show tonight. If you want to support the podcast or our network, you can support us at $UrbanWire. You can follow us on YouTube at www.youtube.com/UCOFW. And also you can join us on our Facebook group page, and you can just search us up under the UrbanWire Media Network. That way you can keep in contact with us and stay on top of what we have going on as far as future uploads and live streams and things of that nature. So we got a lot going on next year. We're still going to start. We're going to hopefully get our UrbanWire Media Network radio up. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm still researching that. We're going to have some really good shows. And I plan on next year having some more shows on here under the UrbanWire Media Network. So we're in the works of that. We do have a guest that's coming on here. I don't know what happened to him. I think he dropped off, but hopefully he'll jump back on here in a little bit. And Sue, do you want to tell us about our guest that's coming on tonight?
Yes, his a local rapper in Indianapolis named Noid. He works closely with ESPN NIA, and they're on a trip down to Atlanta right now. So they might be stuck getting really bad satellite signals from the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah. Because I know for a fact, like if you do drive down there are certain places where you do lose signal. So we hopefully will get him back on here in a little bit. But I just want to talk about what we're going to jump on tonight. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight dealing with the holiday season. Going into 2024, we're going to talk about New Year's resolutions. The importance of making New Year's resolutions, doing our vision boards, manifesting positive things for the upcoming year. We're going to talk about that. And also I want to talk about how do you deal with family during the holidays, because not all of us, a lot of us do have good relationships with our families, but some of us don't. So we're going to talk about how to deal with toxic family and how to just keep the peace throughout the year. Mm-hmm. And also we're going to have Nash. She's going to share with us her input on how we can go forth with that and give her personal story about that. So we're going to do that probably in the second half. But we're just going to touch on a couple stories tonight. This is kind of like a trial run because want them to get a kind of feel of what the podcast is like. But we're going to talk a little bit about celebrity news. We're going to talk about a little bit of politics. And real quick, Jonathan, are we doing fine over there as far as the sound and stuff?
I mean, I can only see that.
See, okay.
But yeah, visually it looks great.
All right. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure. But yeah, we're going to talk about as far as entertainment, we're going to talk about Puff Daddy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, or P. Diddy or Sean Combs, as many of you guys know him. Like, if many of you have been following this story for the past month, you know that he's had a lot of allegations that have came out against him. His ex, Kathy, that she was in the industry as well. She was one of his artists at one point. She just went through the court system. And there's a documentation about all the abuse that she went through. And those that have been following hip hop for years, we've always heard the rumors about P. Diddy for years about how he's engaged in sabotaging a lot of his artists' careers and a lot of sexual misconduct and things allegedly. But a lot of people are now coming out against him now, and it's just like his house of cards is falling. So we're going to touch on that. And on top of that, there's a prominent mega pastor that's been linked to P. Diddy, and there's been some allegations that came out against him too. So also we're going to discuss another actor. This is going to be our Hollyweird holiday / Hollyweird edition. There's another actor in I think he does he produces his stuff too. His name is Christian Keys. We're going to talk about him. He recently came out and said that he's also been a victim of someone that has not been named yet. A lot of people have alluded to, let's just say people like Tyler Perry. They're thinking it could be him because he has worked with Tyler Perry, but we don't know who the billionaire is. But they were saying how he's been a victim of sexual misconduct with Tyler Perry, and he was just sharing his story about his abuse growing up, and then just the things that he has seen in the industry as well. And we're going to talk about some other things too, other little celebrity news. Vin Diesel, they said that somebody has came out and said that, somebody said that he's sexually assaulted him. I mean, let me get it right, the pronouns right. Sexually assaulted one of his assistants that was a female, because So this happened years ago. So now she's filing lawsuit. We talked about this stuff like in the T podcast, like about a month ago. We talked about how the statute of limitations has ran, have they changed the laws for a lot of that stuff, and it's kind of encouraging people to come out and tell their stories about their abuse allegations. So we got a lot of other stuff too. I'm not going to bore you guys, so we're going to jump right into it. Before we jump right into it, did you guys see anything in the news recently that you wanted to bring up, or anything that you saw fascinating?
So you want to go first?
You can go first.
So we are another president in, and they want to impeach him because of his kid doing way too much stuff at bars.
I mean, I don't like Biden or Trump, but like there's still like the difference in that Biden in trouble because of something that some other person did versus Trump getting in trouble because of his own mouth. But again, like if we're not discussing our feelings about Biden right now, I guess. But
that's a good point, because like states like Colorado, they're not letting Trump back on the ballot. You know, and people are making a stand for that. The first state to legalize weed is also the first state that doesn't want, magma back.
Gee.
Now, did you
Did
you guys hear that? I guess Texas is now, it's like almost like a tit for tat. Now they're trying to get Biden off of the ticket now. Like, so like, where is this going to stop? Like, I feel like this upcoming election cycle is going to be one of those really unique. We're going to see the first of everything. Like the past several elections, we've seen like some weird things, but I think like this upcoming election is going to be some things that's unprecedented. Like it's going to be like some things that we've never seen before, and it's just like, man, I don't know which way it's going to go, because now they're talking about Biden is losing a lot of support from the African American community. and there's a lot of things that have been going on as far as American people aren't happy with the illegal immigration and all the promises that he made, like even as far as like the student loan thing that he promised to handle or address. He hasn't done that.
Well, I mean, that's personally, I really hope that does get settled eventually because I also have student loans. But like, let's be real. There's certain people who use more or have student loans more so than others. It's a very large issue with Black people, especially because they didn't have the resources from their parents to go to college. So a lot of those loans are from Black people. So it's also a racial issue in terms of student loans. And yeah, I can't see them changing that because that would affect the status quo. You know, that a lot of people who are disenfranchised to have a chance to move up in the world, possibly because you have a degree doesn't necessarily mean anything these days. But it's just also they'll keep using that to like turn people who are lower class against each other, you know, as opposed to. Sorry, I do stutter, you know, so sorry about that.
Yeah.
But
and you got dumbasses like me that joined the military and got everything paid for.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with that. Like, there's a lot of issues that's going on too. Like, I forgot to really research this story, but they were talking about how it's a lot of issues that's going to be on this upcoming election cycle that we need to kind of address. Like, even the disparities of home ownership. I think what's that? I got to look up that one that.
One of my more vivid memories was when I was living in Georgia between 2019 and more recently 2022, and I had a friend who had his home appraised, and they didn't go above 400,000. When they got it reappraised, they actually bumped it up to almost $500,000.
was he Black?
And of course, he was African.
I've heard of like even here in Indiana, a person who is Black will have a home appraised, and then once they say have a white friend pose as the homeowner and change out the photos to show a white family, they will get a higher. Yeah, and
it's so sad.
So, but I mean that's good to know. So you can have your white friends on hand when you're ready to sell your house.
Yeah, but you know, this is like you said, this is something that's been going on. We've been hearing the stories about this. Like, they've been doing reports on this for years, and this is like something that's not going anywhere. And you would think that this is something that was taking place back in the 50s or 60s, but this is stuff that's now that is still happening in 2023.
Yeah.
And like with this, I still got to find the name of that.
I've mentioned to people before that everyone assumes that as time passes, things will just get better no matter what, and that's not how progress works. It's more like a pendulum swinging back and forth, like
almost like a really vicious cycle, doesn't it?
Yeah. So and people, but I mean, there has been progress, but not as much as people think, and it's gonna be a long time before things are equal, if it ever happens.
And hopefully, the time heals more wounds.
Yeah.
I'm not hopeful it's gonna happen anytime soon.
Well, makes one of the two of us.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get back to the story because I'm trying to figure out the name of that company that's in the news right now. But we're
Wells
gonna
Fargo?
Not Wells Fargo. It's one that they were saying that most of the applicants that were being approved were white Americans, but they weren't even making as much as some of the Black applicants, because they were saying that some of the Black applicants were making up to like $160,000 a year. And they were getting denied. They had excellent credit. They had all their ducks in a row. And they were saying like most of the time that they were being denied in comparison to their white counterparts that were not even making half of that amount. So this is something that's really still a big issue in this country. And it kind of, you know, leads into the discussion. Like, if we don't have the capital, we don't have the ability to take out loans, and we don't have that capital to build up our communities or build up our equity or fix up our
our neighborhoods and stuff like that are open businesses, how can you expect us to progress as a group of people if we're not being allowed an equal playing field?
They don't expect it to all play out the way they want it to.
Right. So
they need a scapegoat for all the problems that are going to take place in the future, especially with global warming, and things are going to get really bad. So they're going to need someone to point a finger at when there's not enough food, not enough water, resources.
Yeah. So that's something that I really saw in the news cycle. And like you said, these are issues that we have to look at. Like, we have to be informed as voters going into 2024. These are the things we need to kind of start pressing these politicians to address. So like I'm gonna tell you, like with 2024 coming up, we have to really start looking at these issues and get out and vote, get registered. You know what I mean? Because we can't sit up here and complain and we're not out here making our voice be heard. And stop voting based on someone else's interest. You have to vote on your best interest. Like, you want to vote for your community's interest, but you don't want to vote in a way because, well, my parents voted this way, so I feel like I have to vote this way.
Yes. So what's your opinion on voting like outside of the two main parties? Because I mean, I feel like that's part of our issue, is that we have one that's like totally insane and fascist, and the other one that is a bit better in comparison, but still doesn't really care about our needs.
And independent, there's usually never enough votes to get them on board.
It's like, again, the whole Trump and Biden thing. Like, Biden has lots of issues and no one really likes him, but they had to vote for him just because he wasn't Trump.
But that's where, sharing all this wealth of resource and knowledge lets other people know there is an independent party out there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is in this age.
It depends, but yeah. I mean, I have voted Democrat in the past, and also just out of sheer disgust for both candidates, voted third party. So
right.
So, in your opinion, and by the way, that credit union I was looking up is Navy Federal.
Oh,
yeah. So it's Navy Federal, and they said this is the largest federally chartered credit union in the United States. So, if this is like a major credit union that's practicing discrimination like this, can you imagine what the other ones are doing? So a lot of people are there was a CNN report about this, and they were under fire, and Navy Federal hasn't really came out and disputed any of the claims either. So
that's crazy.
Yeah. So, you guys, and it's a shame that people have to, if they get in their house of praise, they have to go through certain links to get a actual credible so it's just, I don't know, it's just a sad situation. So
it's one of the many reasons I personally just want to eventually leave the US. Like, I know there's problems elsewhere, but I'm just tired of the situation here. So I guess we'll that's a good way we can segue into another topic that I'm going to discuss tonight. The next topic that I want to discuss, let me go on my list. We're going to talk about health a little bit. So they're saying that there is a new variant of COVID that's coming out. So like I tell people, like, don't get comfortable. We still want to practice, at the very least, practice good hygiene. There's a lot of things, a lot of germs, a lot of things that are going on this time of year, but unfortunately, this pandemic is never going to go anywhere. Like, the virus is going to mutate, and they were talking about how there's another there's one that's affecting children right now.
Children, yeah, it's kind of like pneumonia, or like it affects the breathing and stuff like that. So we have to really be on guard about this. Whether you agree with vaccinations or not, you just kind of have to be be educated on what's going on out here and be aware of your health. Be aware of your children's health, and make sure they stay on top of all their vaccinations, and that they're going to the doctor regularly, and you're having those conversations with your pediatrician and your family doctor and stuff like that, so you can stay healthy, because there's a lot going on out here, and we need to be educated on what's going on. So I guess this new strain is the variant is called the JN .1, and it's spreading fast. So this is coming from the Washington Post. I'm just going to read to you a little bit from this. This says that the World Health Organization on Tuesday declared that the coronavirus, the subvariant JN.1, a variant of interest due to its rapidly increasing spread. It made up about 3% of all new corona virus cases in early November, but 27.1% a month later globally, the WHO said. It anticipates that the JN.1 emergence may cause an increase in cases, especially in countries experiencing winter. So, like, I guess, like, here it's gonna, so
that might explain why some people are sick right now.
Yeah.
Like everyone just got sick all of a sudden. So.
Yeah, I know, like, even at my place for work, it's just like it like what seems to be a cold, it was just jumping around and spreading around. So I'm wondering if this is like a mild version of that, and it's just people are just kind of confusing it as a common cold or something like that.
I just wish the World Health Organization would stay consistent with what they've said over the years. For instance, whenever the pandemic kicked off in the mid-2020s, they wanted to systemize which variants was done or which was being named via the Greek lettering system.
Yeah.
And, remember, if you look at some of the variant, alpha, omega, pi, kappa, theta, whatever it will be, they actually skipped some of these letters, stating that, there is something within this culturalism, in society.
Could it just be that it's so different from the other ones? They had to just give something entirely new or something?
Perhaps.
So let me ask you, do you guys think that COVID, do you think there's going to be another pandemic that sweeps the globe that's even worse than COVID? Like, I don't want to get into conspiracy theory, but
absolutely. Like,
it's like in almost like 100-year cycle. If you think about it, back in the early 1900s, it was the Spanish flu right around the turn of the century, as the Prohibition era was getting through, and then 100 years later, here we have
various bird flu, swine flu, all kinds of things, all the way back to the plague and stuff. And actually, the plague virus is still in existence, so it just hasn't done what it did back during the Black Plague. But these things are all still around. So,
do you think that this was something that was manufactured? Because that's a lot of theories out here. Do you think that it's a thing of population control?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because they want the population to actually grow because they need more people to be in the system to work for the people who are wealthy. There's a lot of articles out right now for people who are child-free, kind of like hounding them about that they need to have children, have more people in society to work these lower jobs. So like they actually want the population to grow. So no, I think it was just maybe a natural, whatever they said it was, or it maybe some crazy person could have created it. But I feel like overall people who are in charge, who are wealthy, want more people to serve them, more people to be born. Because when you're, especially a woman who's child-free, you got a lot of pressure saying it's your duty to make more human beings to work in the system. Yeah.
Well, it seems like my fish back here are having a good time today. Like I hear
they're fighting.
Yes. They're splashing back here.
Yeah. I'm still saying that Tiger Strip's a bully.
Yeah, he's one attacking. There it goes again.
Well, but anyways, getting back to the topic. So, what do you feel about the whole entire pandemic? Do you feel like it's being is this something that is being used as along with other tools to control the population, or do you just think that it's just?
I don't disagree with that statement.
Yeah.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Again, I feel like they want there to be more people who are poor, but also at the same time, if it was aimed at certain populations, I could see that. But since it's spread, and although it did affect people who are Black and brown more so, I mean, I guess it's possible, but still, I do know that they want people to have larger families to fill these positions. So, I mean, you can't say for sure either way.
Right.
If it was just targeting Africa or Latin America, then I bet, yeah.
Yeah.
This is a spread to Europe and the U.S. and it did also affect people who are wealthier, well, more well off, middle class, I suppose. It's a bit hard to tell.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, this has been a crazy year. This has been a crazy couple years, you know. So between the pandemic and just what's going on politically, like there's a lot of these issues are going to determine how what this upcoming election in 2024 is going to pan out to be. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that turns out. So the next story I want to go on to, we're going to jump into some less, you know, some more lighthearted stuff, but we're going to talk. I thought I uploaded my clips, but I didn't. But we can still talk about the whole entire P. Diddy thing. Like we mentioned it at the beginning of the show. So
lighthearted sexual assault.
Well, I would say celebrity gossip. Okay,
There it is.
So celebrity tea. So those of you that have been following this story, P. Diddy has been one of many people named as far as entertainers that have been called to the carpet for sexual assault allegations. So his ex, I don't know what you would call her. I don't even want to say girlfriend because I just feel so weird with her being so young and he was that, like he took advantage of her. I don't even want to say that was his girlfriend, but I guess whatever. But like
the woman he groomed.
Groomed, yes, exactly. So she pretty much the court documents have came out discussing the how she was abused by Diddy. And I guess she reached a settlement, and it's kind of caused other people to come forth and put out information that they've known about Diddy for years. Like, there's been a lot of allegations that's been put out here. Like, people have even alleged Diddy was behind the entire Tupac and Biggie killing. Like, you know, it was just like, that's allegedly, but there's a lot of things that are coming to light, and a lot of witness intimidation and a lot of things that have been going on. And there's been people that have known secrets about Diddy that have mysteriously ended up unalived. Let's just say that. So it's just really crazy that we idolize these individuals, but yet they have all this money and power, and instead of them doing what's right, they're out here ruining people's lives around them. Like, Diddy's been credited to like destroying, like, none of his artists that were under his label, none of them have anything to show up to this day. Like, he's railroaded a lot of people in the industry. He's used his power and his money and his prestige to really screw a lot of people over. And it's just, it's sad that it's taken this long for him to be brought to justice, but I really think that it's well overdue. And I really commend Cassie for coming out and speaking out against him, because the amount of abuse that she went through, I don't even want to get into it. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. So,
and employees were too afraid to even mention it or help her.
Exactly. Yep. So,
I mean, yeah. I empathize. Like, domestic abuse is nothing to play with.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, she was much younger, and I understand that it's hard to leave the kind of situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's so many factors, and like, you should never tell someone that they should just leave, because like, you don't know what is actually happening in the household. They say that the most dangerous time for a victim is actually when they are leaving, because that is when the abuser feels they're losing control and they might become more dangerous. So she might have been afraid to actually leave.
One of the more crazier things that's came out of the P. Diddy situation is he was throwing sex parties, hiring male prostitutes, and having them come over, and he would just enjoy watching the acts themselves. And I mean, granted, who's to say he did not partake in some of them?
Now, I don't really care about the gender aspect, like, just like we're not saying that it's wrong with it because of the gender of people he invited over. It's just like he just has done so many different things and violated so many people. Yeah.
He's transgressed quite a bit.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like there's a lot of people that were in cahoots with him too. Like they're even linking like mega church pastors such as TD Jakes with Diddy, and they were saying how he would engage in these sex parties allegedly. We don't have this out, for sure, but there's been a lot of allegations against TD Jakes, a lot of other people that attended these sex parties, and they were soliciting younger or underage boys. So it's going to be really
cute, the sexual assault and pastors and priests joke.
Yeah,
and it doesn't help. These are mega churches in Texas. These are tens of
but
millions.
Mega churches have a long sordid history of just being corrupt anyway. So,
well, that was just like that. Remember doing that that storm that took place down there in Houston? Had that Joel Osteen, how he didn't want to help out his parishioners or the people that went to his church or help out anybody in the community, but yet you're taking money from these people, but yet you're not giving back to the community. What is the church for? Like, if you're not going to help out the community or help out the people, what are you preaching? Like,
it's a business, and those mega churches don't care about what they're actually preaching. It's just a way to take advantage of people's beliefs, and people are willing to hand you money or whatever else, even go to war for their God, and people know that, and they will take advantage of that.
Like there's a mega church down there. They're charging $69 for a holiday spectacular, where they have flying drummers. They have animals coming up on stage. It's completely interactive. Like, it doesn't get better unless they throw in P. Diddy's "I Believe I Can Fly."
Yeah, I tell you, all this stuff that's going on in the church. It's like today, it's just like the church is nothing but it's a circus. Like, you go to the church to get entertained. You're not going there to receive any religious enlightenment. The church is supposed to be the pillar of the community, but you go to the church, everything that's going on out in the world is going on in the church. And so how can you expect people to take the church seriously when there's just as much hell, there's just as much corruption, and just as much all-out foolishness that's going on in the church? And it's just like you can find this stuff in the world. So I see why
people are leaving their faiths.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you believe in those kinds of things, then the Bible and whatnot, you can just read at home or with your friends. Like the church is, I mean, you're listening to a human being preach to you, and human beings are flawed. They're not ordained by the actual God that you're worshiping. They're someone who's going to go home and do whatever every other man does, or woman. And so just don't put your faith in some human being. Leave your faith with who it should be with, your God, whichever one that may be, and your teaching or their teachings from their scriptures, and just try to be a good human being. Most religions say the same thing anyway. Help others, don't kill, don't steal, those kind of things. So just try to be a good human being in general.
Yeah, and that just leads to the topic. Like, there is a difference between religion and being religious versus being spiritual. And I think a lot of people are looking more for that spiritual path these days, because religion has done nothing but oppress people. Religion has done nothing but leave the people morally and spiritually and bankrupt. And it's literally left people bankrupt. They're hustling these people and getting them to bring in their last. There's some people that are so brainwashed by these mega churches and these pastors that they'll be willing to give their last. Like they'll be willing to
someone who has a private jet.
Yeah, exactly. $65 million jet. We're not going to talk about who that is. But it's just like the hypocrisy in the church. Like, I pray that these allegations of Bishop T.D. Jakes aren't real, because to me it's so disheartening. you know, and it's just like, you know, how can you sit up here and preach one thing and yet you're condemning, you know what I mean? You're condemning people, but you're doing the same thing. So I really hope that these allegations are true. And it's just, but you know what? Like, I've been hearing like there's going to be a lot more people being exposed. And we were just talking about that with the entire Jeffrey Epstein, like the documents, I guess the judge has signed off for
to release
the list of people that were
added the island.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know. They were saying how a lot of mega church pastors are going to be. It's going to be some people like, I'm not even talking about that, but there's going to be a shakedown from what I've been hearing from different sources of different people that have been in the entertainment industry, and the list is going to really shock you guys. So
not really. I highly doubt I'm going to be shocked by any of it.
So I don't know. So I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on that or
about the wealthy and the religious people taking advantage of people like they have for centuries. No, not really.
Well, you know,
I just wish people would not put these people who have money and power on a pedestal, because they're just human beings, and half of them got their wealth through, let's say, let's just say that ways they shouldn't have gotten that money, or like at best maybe from some wealthy parents who did something terrible to get the money themselves. So it's not like God came down and said you're going to be rich because you're a good person. You know, some religions believe that if you're wealthy, it's because God wants you to be, and no, that's not the case. You either got really lucky or you did something terrible.
Wow. Well, you know, that kind of segues into another story that I want to bring up. Those of you that have been following this, there's actor, and a lot of people say that he's not really an A-list actor, but nevertheless, he's been in Hollywood. His name is Christian Keys, and he just recently came out with an hour-long video here in the last week, claiming that he was a victim of sexual assault by a prominent billionaire in Hollywood. And a lot of people are alluding to, we don't know who he's talking about, but a lot of people are alluding to the fact that it may be Tyler Perry that he's discussing. But a lot of people are also pushing back at him and saying like, hey, why are you playing games? Come out and say who did it, because you not being honest and forthcoming, because a lot of people believe something happened to him, but they're just saying how he's moving about doing it is kind of messed up, because now you're putting a lot of other people out here that people are speculating or saying, well, we don't know if this is this person or that person. So it's messy on how he moved. And it's just like, why would you say that a billionaire assaulted you and you don't have your ducks in a row, and you're not thinking about the safety of yourself or other people that may still be impacted by this person being out here, being able to victimize other people? Maybe
he thinks he is, because like, again, it's someone who has billions of dollars and has a lot of power and influence. Like he might be afraid to say out who it is, but at the same time, it's affecting him so deeply that he just needs to vent it and tell people that something is wrong here. But maybe he doesn't want to go into detail just yet because of maybe a threat or what could happen. Maybe he's not ready for the court case. Just at the same time, he emotionally it needs to come out. He isn't ready yet for all the ramifications of saying who it is.
Yeah, I think he's just milking it. I think he might just milk it.
Some people are saying they think he's kind of, like you said, milking it, and it's a clout thing too. So, but there's an article I want to read to kind of give more insight on it. This is from Gossip, and it's entitled. Let me go to the title of this. This is called Christian Keys said it would break people's hearts if he exposed the identity of his alleged harasser. This was published on December 21st, and this was written by Gossip staff. And the article reads as such. I'm not going to read the whole entire thing, but I'm just going to go over some of the main highlights of this article. and it reads, while some fans sympathize with the actor's reluctance, a few social media users pondered whether Keys was intentionally withholding the name of his alleged harasser to gain clout and attention. As you mentioned, go up here towards the top. All the Queen's Men star Christian Keys is apparently reluctant to reveal the identity of the powerful billionaire at the center of his sexual harassment claims because it will break hearts. He did, however, like a tweet that seemingly cleared the name of the billionaire bigwig that people are speculating is the culprit. On December 19th, the 48-year-old actor hopped into the comments section of the Neighborhood Talk after the outlet posted the emotional Instagram video in which he accused the powerful Hollywood billionaire of being shady and predatory. He also claimed that the unidentified Tinseltown giant offered Tinseltown giant offered him $100,000 to strip and tried to climb in bed with him.
Oh my.
Yeah, so let's go down here. There was a tweet that I saw. Okay, so he released a tweet. I think it's on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he released a post saying some of these negative and ignorant comments are the exact reason that men, especially black men, don't talk about this kind of stuff. Mm. I pray that the people making comments never have to experience anything like this. And y'all have said that his name in the comments, which is crazy because that's how many people know what's going on, trying to find strength to finish this race.
It's not even just black men. It's like just anyone who is in that situation is
exactly
going to be doubted or it's going to be belittled because people just don't take assaults or anything like that seriously until it happens to them.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like we live in a culture to where, like you made a good point. It's always women that are the victims. It's never young boys, and that's why I feel like a lot of young boys. And this is not even just a Hollywood thing, because it's the thing we're talking about Hollyweird tonight. But a lot of children that are in homes or in situations where young boys are being molested, and they feel like they can't come out and tell anyone because, especially even in the church, like a lot of these young boys are being molested in the church. They're being molested by uncles, cousins, and stuff like that. They can't come out and tell anyone because the fear of them being
seen as feminine.
Yeah. And well, that doesn't happen, like a lot of people even shame Terry Crews. Remember that situation that happened to him when he was sexually assaulted? People was clowning him. And my thing is, how many people are suffering in silence because of this ignorant standpoint that people have about men can't be sexually assaulted? Or
just anyone who isn't seen as feminine, because even back during slavery, they said black women couldn't be raped because we weren't seen as feminine enough. Rape was only for something that happened to women, and women only meant white women. Like we were seen as to being too masculine, too aggressive, all those kinds of things. So like this goes back quite a ways.
Yeah. And that can go into like, oh my goodness, like so many different directions we can go with how black people are seen, not just black men, but black people are seen in this country. Like we can go into the thing about medical racism because that's been a topic that's been in the blogs too. With I guess one of the doctors on Married to Medicine, how she came under fire because she was talking about how black women complain too much and they're not seen as taking something she said to the fact that black women need to quit complaining this much and this, that, and the other. And if you guys want to be taken serious, especially doing childbirth and stuff like that. And it's just like, how are you as a black doctor, and you're supposed to be a prominent celebrity doctor, how are you pushing that negative viewpoint about that? Like, you're supposed to be black yourself. So it's not always the dominant society. We have a lot of self-hatred in our community and things that we need to address because we're pushing some of these narratives as well.
People internalize things that are said to them. So,
yeah.
And, but people don't take anything seriously when it comes to pain or suffering with the black people. Like going back to the whole rape thing after shortly after slavery ended, there was a case, I think it was in Memphis, of a white man who broke into a black home and kicked out the black husband and forced the black wife to make him food and to perform fellatio. And when she was crying and said she didn't want to, the assaulter was so confused, like, why not? I heard that black women are all promiscuous, you're all whores, and you can't be raped because you always want it. And I don't understand how this is supposedly hurting you. Why are you crying? So like, and there's just regarding our assaults, our pain, suffering.
Yeah.
Even with gynecology, they used to tie down black women and cut them open with no medication whatsoever to poke and prod at their genitals to learn about gynecology. Just they don't see us as feeling pain or any kind of suffering emotionally or physically. Mm-hmm. And so, but that's why, that's a large part of why our maternal death rate is so high. Our numbers in the U.S. are high as a country because they're high for Black women, and I imagine Indigenous women as well. Like our community is what brings up that number of deaths for the U.S. Mm-hmm. Like even I believe Serena Williams, as wealthy as she is, barely made it because they didn't believe her, because again, she's a Black woman and she's rich. Like money, class, these kinds of things don't really make much of a dent in that number, because it's not about you being poor or having the right doctor. It's just about you being Black.
Mm-hmm. And the doctor that I was referring to, that this season of married from medicine to medicine or whatever it is, I don't really follow the show, but the topic came up in the news cycle this week. Her name is Dr. Jackie, and I actually this clip is an old clip that came up, but still it kind of brought up the fact of the entire thing dealing with medical racism and kind of like what you were talking about, you know. And a lot of people are trying to give her an excuse. Well, you know, she came up during a time, or she studied down south to where that's the kind of that's how they train their people, or that's the school of thought that they had. But still, that's not an excuse. You know what I mean?
Internalized racism.
Yeah, that's internalized racism, and that's what, you know, I think we are victims of that in our culture. That there is a lot of self-hatred, internalized racism that we have to address as a community. We can't expect the world to take us seriously or get on board with us being seen as equal when we don't look at ourselves like this. So it starts within. We have to work on ourselves before we expect society to take us seriously.
It starts with the children, because growing up, I remember there was not much positivity. There was not much put towards teaching about our actual history beyond slavery. It was always your ancestors were slaves, your property, you're an object, you're nothing, and that is what gets ingrained. And when someone else says, actually, no, I'm a person, someone who has that mindset of I'm property or I'm an object is like, how dare you? You're the same as me. How dare you think that you're better than me? You know. So like we have to teach children that there's more to our history than just slavery or suffering. Like, yes, it's important to know those things, but that was just a point in our history. Our history goes back thousands of years, and it's beautiful and glorious. There's empires, there's wealth, there's power, and that what we're seeing now with Africa or with African Americans is our temporary state.
And even our history in this country is a very rich history. It's not even all about oppression. Like even the things that we've gone through, some of the things that we've overcame, the inventions that we've created, a lot of things we don't even get credited for, because you got to think of like a lot of everyday products that we use, things that we use that we take for granted were invented by
slaves.
And
the patents were taken by the slave masters.
And I think this is exactly why this leads into the topic, why it's very imperative that we don't take like these schools are trying to take a lot of that history out of the schools to where they're not teaching the kids that. We have to make sure that our kids have access to the history of this country, like the true history of this country, instead of this watered down bull crap that they try to teach these kids. And like you said, education starts at home. Like it starts at home. You know, you can't rely on the school system to solely teach your kids. It comes to you as the parent to teach your kids about their history. You know what I mean? And you have to build your kids up before you send them out into the world, because you can't expect the school system to build them up, because they're not going to do that. You see what they're trying to push now. So, you know what I mean?
I think it was Howard Zinn, someone, historian, had written about how they had tried to get a textbook into classrooms, and from what I was told, that it wouldn't be accepted because it painted the U.S. in a negative light. It didn't make white people look good enough. It didn't make white people look bad enough. It wouldn't put people in the place that they were designed to be in American society. So that book was rejected, and he wrote a whole book on how the American school system isn't meant to teach, is meant to indoctrinate children into believing a certain thing about their place in society and being good workers and keeping their heads down, and how history classes, especially for Black and Native children, is just really depressing, and they don't almost kind of tune it out, you know. I know my degree was in history. I tuned out a lot of stuff I heard in standard elementary and high school and middle school, but in college, when I was more free to pick my own classes and read actual texts and whatnot, I actually enjoyed it. So school is meant to, it's not meant to teach, it's meant to make you into what they want you to be.
So Stu, do you have anything that you want to add to that discussion, or how do you feel about that? Especially, like, how do you feel about the entire?
Everything you all said is very, very true. You know, dealing with the systemic racism or the generational post-traumatic stress disorder that you all are suffering through. It is very tragic the way this United States has grown up.
Yeah.
I would say we could touch upon the affirmative action issue.
Yes, I want to bring that up. You want to bring that up, or
I don't know if we should, because that's I feel like it's gonna be kind of touchy right now, since that kind of just happened recently.
This is your view and opinion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We have to talk about these things. Regardless, I think we have to get the dialogue going about things, because things may be controversial, but I think that's the best time to talk about things.
But I want Han to help with this one then.
So you guys want to? We can talk about it.
And exactly how do I assist with said conversation?
Because it's about Black and Asian relations in the U.S.
I just
history lesson. It was the once again, like the 1920s, 1930s. No, even later than that. The Black and the Asians were bonding together, and were picketing and asking for more civil liberties, civil rights during the political movements in the civil rights movement.
Black power and yellow peril.
Yeah, oh boy. Black don't crack, yellow be mellow.
Oh goodness. I just think it's just really sad how the powers that be try to
turn people against each other.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
There's no solidarity, and we're weaker as a people. Yeah. But because I on the affirmative action thing. So what happened was, as far as I can tell, there were conservative, racist, white people involved who got a handful of, just a few Asian Americans with more conservative views, who thought they weren't getting into like Harvard and Yale because of Black people in affirmative action. They got them to side with them and have affirmative action removed from the criteria for consideration for some of these universities. And they thought it would only hurt the Black students, but they thought we were too dumb to get into these schools, and that we were only there because of that, and that we were not even spaces. So now that that's been taken out, turns out no, it was just good old racism, and taking the correction out didn't actually help Asian Americans. It
Didn't help either one of our peoples.
It might have actually made things harder for Asian Americans because surprise, surprise, Asians are still people of color, and racists don't like them either. So
and that's the thing about this system of white supremacy. A lot of people feel like especially a lot of other groups come over here and feel like they have to get on the side of white supremacy and oppress black people, and it don't work that way. And unfortunately, we as people have helped out a lot of other groups that came over here, and turned on us, and they realized at the end of the day that white supremacy doesn't care about you. If you're not white, I don't care if you consider yourself to be honorary white, but if you're not, you don't have the complexion for the protection, they're going to turn on you.
Well, even if they're light skinned, I think people think that if they're light skinned, have straight hair, they're close enough. And no, because it's not about your appearance. Like race is fictional. It's about your in the U.S. at least. It's about where your answers come from. What country? What continent? So
I completely agree, and I want to point out, Senica, how thankful I am that you actually own an Asus laptop. Did you all know this is actually made in Taiwan, just like myself?
Really?
I kid you
not.
Well,
it's top quality.
It is top quality stuff. Exactly. We got some top ramen stuff right now going on.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, man, I just really think that I think we should be more on one page here, like as far as quote unquote minorities are concerned, because we're more alike than different. You know, and I think that's the name of the game. They try to pit us against each other. They try to that's how the history is in this country, and all the while the rich is getting richer, the poor is getting poorer. And people are willing to sell out, but at the end of the day, selling out never pays out at the end. You know what I mean? So,
and what kills me is like all the information on this is all there. Like there's documentation on how the mild minority stereotype came about, and how it's just designed to keep Black people and Latinos below. Supposedly below Asians, just enough to keep them at each other's throats. So it shields the white Americans. Like I believe a good example of that is like, wasn't during the LA riots when they blocked off the white neighborhoods and directed the black people who were rioting towards Asians. So like that's a good like physical like representation of what is happening. They're blocking themselves off and directing towards some other group and using them as a scapegoat. Even like personally, I've had discussions with the racists, and whenever I was like calling out white racism, I'd have a white guy say, "Oh no, that wasn't us. That was the Asians." I'm like, no, because I know history. I know
scapegoatism. That's what I call it.
I told him, I know you're lying. I know the history of what we're discussing, and you're just trying to redirect this conversation. And he admitted it. He admitted that he was lying to me, and that he was just using Asians as a scapegoat. I'm like, yeah, I know you are.
Scapegoats are what's predominantly used in this culture and society. Sometimes the ultra wealthy are kept up by the middle class. The poor is just there to scare the fuck out of the middle class.
Yeah. So, but I wanted to get on the topic that you brought up, and I wanted you kind of remind me of it's like the entire issue of colorism too, and how I think I think colorism is something that takes place in all communities, particularly in the Black community. Like, I feel like we're focused on the wrong thing, because I think, this is my on YouTube. I get so tired of him talking about light skin. I said, at the end of the day, we all Black. We still Black. We a bunch of ends. To it don't matter. Like all this, like this squabbling within our community, it doesn't mean anything to the dominant society, because they all look at us as the same thing at the end of the day. And you're not gonna have any more power than the next person in the community. So even if they give you this illusion of power and you got money, like look at all these celebrities like Bill Cosby. Look at all these people that have money, and they and they able to bring them down,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it doesn't matter. Like at the end of the day, if you're black in America, we're
Mhm.
all victims of white supremacy.
Mhm.
And you even have people that are, you know, and when I say white supremacy, like I always have to say this, it's not white people.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have white people that are about justice. They're
Mhm.
about standing up for what's right, and they get railroaded in the system of white supremacy too. Because anything that stands in the way
Mm-hmm.
of that, they're going to destroy it. So it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what your race is, and so it's a system that we can't get distracted,
Mhm.
you know, and.
We need to clarify that too. Like when we're talking about like racism and white people,
Yeah.
whenever you're talking to a lot of white people, when we have this discussion, they will think you're talking about them, and I have to like clarify. No, you're some individual I barely even know. I don't care about also your opinions on my race or those kinds of things. Like you are your own individual. I'm talking about the system itself. I even if you're racist and you hate me, like honestly, depending on what, like unless you're like someone who's can affect my life, like I'm not too worried about you. I'm not attacking you. I don't care enough to attack you. This is talking about a larger issue that is affecting innocent people. And like I may not. Of course, I don't like that you're racist, but like in the end of the day, I'm worried about something bigger than just you and your feelings on how I'm talking to you in regards to white supremacy. You know.
But I agree with you, but still at the same time, white people need to know too that they have privilege,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you're really about trying to ally with us, check your privilege at the door because.
Mm-hmm.
Even though that is an individual, that individual has the power of destroying you as a person. That person can call the cops on you. They can make up something about you. So while we need to focus more on the collective, we have to look at people individually too, because white people have what I call $1 million worth of whiteness in their skin. So, you know, they have to learn how, if you're going to be allies with us, you have to check your privilege at the door, and you have to realize, hey, I am in this country, and whether I'm racist or not, I still benefit from this system. So how can I ally with you to kind of, if I care about you, what can I do as an individual to help make the plight better?
I agree. I was referring more.
I feel what you're saying though. I feel what you're saying though.
Yeah, I was referring more to individuals who came to have the conversation because they feel like they're personally being attacked, and it's like, no, I'm not talking about this just to attack you. Like this isn't about you. This is about the harm of white supremacy. Like this isn't me saying I'm going to walk up to Keith on the street and just call him white and insult him. Like no, there's a purpose to this. It is a big issue. Like. This isn't me just being mean to you. Like this is an important topic.
So let me ask you, as being an Asian American, how do you feel about this topic? Do you feel like a lot of these things impact you, being Asian, and like what are some of the struggles that you've had to overcome? Especially you said you came from your family was immigrant, and you being some of your first generation. So how has that impacting you with you being a first generational product of, you know, moving here and then like seeing what your parents had to go through and some of your struggles living here?
Yeah, there's the generic stereotypes that's growing up with being Asian. You know, people always think you're smart at school. You know, you're great at math. Yes, I always carry an abacus in the car just in case if I need to do some, you know, mathematics and stuff like that. Yeah. But that's not the point of the case. Sometimes, you know, these stigmas and these stereotypes doesn't work, you know, in benefit for every individuals.
Yeah.
You know.
And wasn't there a case in the military where you actually were denied something because you weren't white?
I was the wrong race at that time. But at the same time, it's one of those things, you know, they didn't say that was the case of it, but you could tell who was the applicant who won it. You know, because you know we were stationed in Hawaii. There was a lot of Asian applicants. You know, but it's one of those things. You know, systemic. It hasn't completely gone away, but it's definitely gotten better over the years. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm at least that thankful.
All right. Well, I got a couple more entertainment stories that I want to do, and then we're gonna take a break and then come back with our main topic, and we're gonna call it a night. Getting back to what we were talking earlier, now we have another person, as I mentioned earlier, Vin Diesel. He was caught up in the latest Me Too thing. Like he was accused by an assistant of sexual assault.
Of course he was.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Yeah, so it's a lot going on. Those of you that have been following the whole entire Cardi B and Offset situation, they're officially separated now, which I kind of think, I hate to say this, it's long overdue because it was one of those toxic relationships. And that's why I tell people all the time, when you live your life as a celebrity, don't envy these people because they have an image that they have to uphold. And they're going through all this toxicity in their relationships behind the cameras, but they have to keep up these appearances to the public. And it was just a lot of cheating going on. And then what's his name from the Migos was killed. So they went through all that drama together. And yeah, and it's just they went through a lot of stuff, not only in front of the world to see, but even behind the scenes. So it's one of those things. I don't like to see any family split up, but I think sometimes, people need to put that aside and think about themselves instead of trying to uphold this image to the public. So I think it's probably a good thing that they are separated because, they have kids that they have to think about. You know what I mean? So, it's just a sad situation. So I want to bring that up. And speaking of toxic families, I want to talk about the whole Torey Beirmann and Kim Zolciak thing and how there's just been a lot of drama in their relationship. And I want to bring up this article from page 6. It's entitled Kim Zolciak and Torey Beirmann slash price on $6 million mansion following explosive fight and money woes. I had this clip of the police call, but I didn't get it uploaded in time. But I just wanted to read a little bit from this article. It reads, Kim Zolciak and Torey Beirmann slashed the asking price of their Georgia mansion by $500,000. Page 6 can confirm. After the listing of their 2-story, 7-bedroom, and 11-bathroom Milton house at a whopping $6 million 2 months ago, the couple was forced to reconsider amid the lack of offers. TMZ was the first to report on the news Tuesday. The price drop of their home, which was originally valued at $3 million, comes as a estranged couple's financial troubles continue to grow and their divorce gets messier. Zolciak, whom Beirmann was accused of having reckless spending habits and a love for online gambling, was first sued by Target for $2,482.24 in unpaid credit card bills. Saks Capital One also filed a lawsuit against Bravo Liberty for more than $150,000 in unpaid credit card fees. As for the former Atlanta Falcons player, BMW Financial Services sued Beirmann for skipping out on payments of his $400,000 Rolls Royce. He was also sued by his lawyer for underpaid fees in his contentious divorce from Zolciak. Due to their mounting debt and split, a judge granted the Don't Be Tardy for the Party alumni permission to sell their mansion, which has faced foreclosure twice, to pay off their debt. So, in the article goes on. I'm not going to read the rest of it, but here's another example of toxic couples in Hollywood. And this guy does not have anything to show for him being in the NFL. This lady, which she was a former Real Housewives of Atlanta wife on there, she pretty much, and she's like way older than he is, but she pretty much got with him. She saw bad. She saw the dollar signs, and she got pregnant by him, and she was just there to use up the money. Like she's trash. So like, you know, it's just sad that all this stuff, they were supposed to get divorced before, then they called off the divorce, and it's just she's playing games with him. She's online selling his stuff, auctioning his stuff off, and she keeps poking at the bear. And my thing is like, girl, you keep poking at this guy, and he's, you know, exercising restraint. Like one day that guy's going to snap on you, and it's going to be devastating. You guys have kids, and you're not helping this guy. You're not helping to bring anything to the picture. You have a gambling problem. You're sitting up here selling all his stuff. You're going on these shopping sprees. She does not have any respect for their marriage. And that's why I say we can't idolize these couples in Hollywood. Everyone wants these relationship goals, but we can't idolize these people because they're going through stuff just like the rest of us. And, you know, it's sad. It's sad. And they have kids that's involved in this too.
People just see the glitz and glamour and the mansion, the cars, the cute kids, and imagine themselves in that position of having the ideal life, and it's not what it is. Yeah. So I just wanted to bring that up, like, you know, getting back to the whole thing about Hollyweird. I mean, we think that these people have normal lives, man. They going through some crazy things, and I would not want their lives. Like I just like living the everyday life. I don't want to have those types of problems to where you have to worry about who around you is for you. You got to worry about is everyone around you there to use you, or, you know what I mean, or come up off of your name. So I enjoy the money though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like they say, more money, more problems. Not necessarily. Depends on how you manage it. Yeah, that's true. So I want to thank the people that have been watching so far. I want to give a shout out to Justin Ross. You know, that's one of my buddies. He's out there. We had a Facebook user send us a heart, so they sent us some love. And then someone also sent a comment earlier. You show it. So I guess he was talking about, I don't know if we were talking about the president earlier. He's losing the younger generation. So I'm wondering if he's talking about Biden. And then we also had a comment by another Facebook user. Let's see. The church with the water slide baptism. I think that's what we were talking about there earlier. So we want to thank everybody that's been watching so far. Once again, you guys can support us. You can check us out on youtube.com. Please subscribe to our channel. We're close to 2,000 subscribers. So please just get on there, subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Support our videos. Join us on our Facebook page, the UrbanWire Media Network, and you can stay abreast on what we're doing and when we're going to be going live. And I think that's it for this portion of the show. We're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to probably come back for another like 20 minutes for the second half of the show, and then we're going to call it a night. I think this is a pretty good trial run. What do you guys think so far?
I'm enjoying myself so far.
Yeah. I think we got the potential to do a lot of things with this. But I just kind of want you guys to get a feel of it and see how you guys liked it and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
it's good times.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go to a quick break, and we will be back with the next topic of how to deal with toxic family members during the holidays.
My specialty.
Yeah. So stay tuned, and we will be back shortly. Second, guys.
Take it out.
All right.
You are now listening to the Urban Wire podcast on the Urban Wire Media Network, where we shine the light on the issues impacting the urban community. Join us as we discuss the latest in news, politics, social commentary, celebrity news, gossip, interviews, and so much more. This podcast and other podcasts on this network are available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and Blog Talk Radio. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel at www.youtube.com UrbanWire.com/UCOFW and join our Facebook group page and official page for show updates, discussions, and show listings. Email us at ucofw.indy@gmail.com to advertise with us, submit show ideas, and other business inquiries.
Everybody's on their way to
Mousetrap.
Mousetrap.
We'll get done. Okay.
Sounds good. You coming along?
Black Diamond?
Maybe. Oh, this might be a double date.
We are back, y'all, with another part of the Urban Wire. This is episode, I believe, 114. We're in the second part of our show.
Join us at www.youtube.com/UCOFW and join us on our Facebook group page so you can follow us and stay abreast on what we're doing. And yeah, all right.
Can I get a link to this later?
Yeah.
I have it on the phone here.
Yeah. So, our second part of the show, we're going to talk about how to deal with toxic family members during the holidays. So, and we're going to also talk about how to go into the New Year's with goals. Like, what's the importance of goals and doing your vision boards and manifesting positivity throughout the year. So, I didn't know who wants to start.
Well, dear, wasn't this a lovely Thanksgiving that we had?
Got the look on the face.
I mean, your father-in-law was so nice to have us over. Stepfather, my apologies. And then, of course, your step siblings were so lovely.
First of all, we're not even going to talk about that because that wasn't a case of toxic family members. That was just a very awkward time.
Right.
But
how does that make it awkward, if I may ask?
you don't want me to tell everybody what happened.
Oh, that's such a lovely story, though, isn't it?
We're not going to go there.
Okay.
Because you're going to be mad if I say what happened.
Are you really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to be in the middle of a mudslinging contest now, girl. I'm in the middle of y'all now. I'm not. Yeah.
This ain't no much.
No, I'm safe as long as you're in the middle.
So we all go through this, like all jokes aside, we all go through this time of year where it's supposed to be about family, friends, positivity, and things of that nature. But how do you deal with toxic family? Like, how do you deal with those people that you dreading to go see them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you deal with those individuals that are always negative, that never have anything good to say when you come around, even though you may have the best intentions to maintain peace? How do you deal with people like that? And like what are some tips you would give someone that is going through that this time of year?
So I guess I can give a little background into my situation. So I have, I'm going to keep it, I'm just going to say a family member who is a narcissist and half a dozen other issues as well, who has taken $3,000 from me, who has more or less told me to, not more or less, has pretty much blatantly told me to kill myself.
Wow.
Who has told me that I don't matter because I have siblings as replacements. And yet, as a narcissist, they will be very funny, kind, charming in front of people who are not family, because that's how narcissism works. When they're in front of people who are not as close, they're very charming and witty and whatnot, and everyone loves them. And then when it's in private with people who are close to them in their everyday life, the monster comes out. So I feel like having dealt with that from family members my whole life, I perhaps have a tolerance that's higher than it should be, and I don't always take myself out of those situations. So I personally, I've tried to disown these relatives, plural, although I have not been successful in doing so. And I thought it would be okay to do so because I've read that like 1 in 4 young people these days are avoiding their parents and families because they're toxic, and they realize that their mental health is what's most important, and not being around someone just because they're blood, if they're hurting them. So I found with people who are toxic, it's good to, like, personally maybe use the I remember use the gray rock method, where you just don't really feed into their negativity. You don't really look them in the eye. You don't respond to them. You just let them run their mouths, and don't let it affect you as much as you can. And you set boundaries, because people who are narcissists or who have similar issues will try to break every boundary you set because they want that power. So set boundaries and stick to them. Don't falter. Again, like I said earlier, if you need to cut ties, there's no shame in doing so, because you're not obligated to tolerate abuse just because there's a blood tie.
Right.
As the full saying goes, I believe it's something like the blood of the covenants is thicker than water of the womb. Your family is who loves you, who's close to you as a person, not just someone that is blood tied to you. And also make sure you have a good support system, because when things go south with those kinds of people, you want friends you can turn to, a therapist you can talk to, because you don't always want to put all of your problems on your friends, because they'll get emotional burnout. And the last thing you want to hear when something is happening to you is, "Oh, I'm tired of hearing about your problems" from friends, because then it's like if you feel more alone. So you want to turn to a therapist who is trained to take out on your problems. And if it's for a romantic partner or something like that, aside from domestic abuse, national hotlines, there's also other services like I believe there's one called Love is Respect. Well, that you can call to get advice, and they will direct you towards resources in your area for any kind of abuse you may be enduring. And also it's best to inform yourself on your situation. If you're dealing with someone who's bipolar, who's narcissist, who's a psychopath, sociopath, whatever, you need to understand the person that you're dealing with, the symptoms, what they might do to you, perhaps their past victims, learn about what they've done to other people, so you know what to expect going forward with this person. If they've broken into somebody's house and damaged things out of anger, maybe put cameras up around your own house. If they've hurt someone else's pets or children, keep an eye on your own pets and children. Just make sure you are prepared for what may happen going forward, and just protect yourself emotionally. Again, see a therapist, and make sure that you are mentally strong enough to handle what you're going to be dealing with.
You covered so much ground there. I was going to shorten it to just live a good life.
Yeah.
You did great there. You did great there.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm almost afraid to ask what's your New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
Just another year knocked out.
Just try to be strong and try to be happy, because life has been so rough up to this point. My goal is just happiness. I'm tired of the negativity and the bitterness. So yeah.
Do you think that you can manifest that by, like I always tell people, you can determine your reality. You determine your world around you, and you don't. Especially us as living as adults these days. Like if people aren't paying you, like that's what I'm saying. Like dealing with toxic family or just people in general. Like why deal with these people if they're not doing anything for you, and if they're not putting food on your table, they're not paying your rent. Why deal with these people if you don't have to deal with them?
Well, again, it really just comes down to the individual case. It could be someone who's been taught from a young age that family is everything, and that they feel immense guilt leaving that behind.
Dependency, like we were discussing earlier.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes. Or maybe they are getting something from them. Maybe if it's not financial, it could be because they've been told no one else in this world loves you but me. No one else will be there for you but me. Those friends of yours will not be there for you, but I will. So they feel fearful that when it comes down to it, the people who are there to support them, they feel like that they may not be able to trust them because they're not blood, so that they'll get tired of helping, and or just it could be any number of things.
It could be.
Right. So what do you feel? So like how do you feel like people can deal with toxic family or just people or just things in general, like this time of year? What are some tips that you were given, or what are some personal experiences that you've had?
Yeah, I practice a lot of avoidism, being raised predominantly Buddhist. Granted, there's some non-denominational church sprinkled in here and there, but if you don't necessarily let negative energies come within your life, there's no need for it to be around you, and you surround yourself in just a healthier, happier state, and you can go and transverse this world in just a much, much better mood.
Some zen out.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I want to, speaking of this, and I want to offer some more tips. Like, this is from Psychology Today, and they offer 10 ways to keep your family members from ruining your holidays. I'm just going to run down this list. What you can do is, number one, recognize reality and don't sugarcoat it. People reveal who they are by their behavior, so don't ignore the noxious things that they do. Number two, going back to what you were saying, you must set boundaries to what you will and will not tolerate. I know families that have had to bar adult children from holiday meals because they have ruined so many family gatherings in the past. Number three, get everyone else to agree that there are topics that will simply not be discussed because they're only going to bring out the worst in these individuals, and don't allow the conversations to veer into a minefield of divisive issues. Number four, set limits. If a dinner starts at 6, start exactly at that time and let everyone know if they are late, dinner starts without them. The emotionally unstable person is famous for being late, egregiously late, in order to make dramatic entrances, be the focus of the attention, and to demonstrate dominance or control. And we all got those, honey, we got those divas, those prima donna divas in our family. So number five, behavior that is dangerous, excessive drinking, or divisive, or that only serves to antagonize or irritate others should not be tolerated. If it's your house, you set the rules. If it's someone else's house, you don't have to be a party to acrimony, hostility, or worse. Number six, do expect to have a great get together and have a good time. And if something is detracting from that, as has happened in the past, resolve that with that person. Simply, resolve that this person simply will not have an audience this time. Number seven, don't let things get out of hand, especially where alcohol and weapons are involved. So, you got families that are alcoholics, people want to pop off with them guns and them things. You can't let that happen. Number eight, remember that just because you are family does not mean you are safe. So that's what I'm saying. Emotionally, physically, or psychologically, when we avoid or control those individuals or situations that would do us harm. Family holiday time is not therapy time. That is for professionals to handle in private. Do not allow yourself to be drawn into the drama with these individuals and to use dominant social events and diminish your enjoyment of the holidays. And number 10, lastly, but perhaps most importantly, always remember that you have absolutely no social or family obligation to be victimized. So don't let the fact that these people are family keep you in a situation where they're going to victimize you. You don't have to put up with that from anybody. And like I said, like I always say, family is good to have family, a good family bond. But to me, family is what you make it. Like, you can have friends that are family, because sometimes your friends will treat you better than your family. So like we had our Friendsgiving. It was just a wonderful time being around friends and just positivity. And that's what it's all about. The holidays is about being around people that love and respect you and that you can reciprocate that too. So family doesn't always mean blood. You always want to keep those relationships on point, but you don't that does not necessarily mean that those are the people that have the best interest in heart for you. So, Yep. So
this is a wonderful list from Psych Today, written by Dr.
Let's go up and see who is. This is written by
Joe Navarro.
Yeah,
MA.
Yeah. So yeah, check that out. That's on Psychology Today. This article was actually written back in 2014, but it's still very relevant to the things that we go through. I mean, we've been going through these things for years, and if you always gonna have no matter how many years pass, you're gonna have that family member that's gonna be the alcoholic. You're gonna have that crackhead in the family that's gonna go and steal Big Mama's purse and steal her rent money out her purse, steal her pension. Gonna steal the you know what I mean? You're gonna have the auntie that's dramatic. You're gonna have the baby's kids that's running around breaking everything. So you just gotta learn how to deal with these people, and and if you can't deal with them, if you can't be positive, it's just sometimes best for you to stay home. Just stay home.
That's what I did last year, actually. My family went to my aunt's, who is, literally just a psychopath. Just she was supposed to have been locked up years ago when she was younger, and my grandma said, "No, we don't do that as family." So she's out here terrorizing Indiana.
Oh my!
And,
she just gonna put them out like that. Oh my God!
I don't care. I'm blunt. I'm gonna say it. I didn't use names.
well, I guess that's true.
But I stayed home. And I was just thinking how this person had just done something horrible, said horrible things about a relative who had just died, just as a way to try to provoke issues. And so I avoided that whole get together, and only heard about it later that night because everyone came in saying how I missed how since it's the 4th of July, a firework went off and actually. It was a freak accident, shot across the yard and hit the person in the eye.
What?
And it took her eye out. So I'm like, oh, so at the exact same time I was thinking this person was a horrible person. I just can't stand them. They were getting shot in the eye with a firecracker. So how about that?
That's crazy.
Oh my God.
I'm not gonna say I was wishing bad on them. I just things happen when you're a bad person.
Yeah. All right. Well, and we're gonna close out the show. I didn't know that, what do you think about New Year's resolutions? What are your resolutions this year? And do you think that it's important for people to have New Year's resolutions and stick with those resolutions? I know a lot of times people have these generic resolutions like, oh, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna eat right, I'm gonna stop eating that pork, I'm gonna stop eating them chitlins and all that stuff. And
but it's good to have.
Jonathan, why are you looking at me like that?
It's good to have goals in general.
Yes.
And but if you have one of those broad, generic goals, at least look into how you're going to go about that. Like, say you want to lose weight, okay, well, how many pounds and what foods are you going to change up in your diet? And
definitely have a step A through Z.
Yeah. Why do you think a lot of people? They don't? I guess how should I say?
Don't follow through.
Follow through with their New Year's resolutions. Why do you think that?
Because there's a study where humans, they have an attention span post a certain amount of time, and they say anywhere from 30 to 120 days after the New Year's resolution set, especially given January 1st, people just fall off the wagon or they don't follow through because there's a certain amount of energy and input that they need to do in order to successfully accomplish what they have to. Because if you lose interest in it, what's the point of even doing it in the first place?
And also, this is America. Like, everyone is tired. I think they're stressed out. Like, they don't have the energy or time necessarily to fall through it because that may not seem as important, like you're saying. If you're working a long shift and get home at like 11 o'clock at night, like it's either like stop and get like some food from a drive-through window, or come home and take all the ingredients, cook a healthy meal. And people like can maybe do that for maybe a little while, but after a while, it's just like, I'm tired of this. I'm exhausted. I'm burning the candle at both ends. I just need some food in my stomach, I'm going to go crash,
Okay.
Like, what? I'm not saying me, I'm just saying in general. I know that people just get tired, and America has issues with people working and not having a certain amount of time off that people get in Europe and whatnot, and people have also issues with childcare and how there's not enough leave for those kinds of things in the U.S. Just we're society. Huh?
That's like a whole nother show, man. We could talk. We need to get into that sometimes because like the whole entire workforce and how people in America, how they're working, it's like a rat race. Like you never, and it's like you're hands on the wheel. You running and running, but you're not going anywhere. It's like you working hard. You're doing all these hours. You don't. It's just like, what are we achieving? And we don't even have enough to. And that's just capitalism for you. That's just the beast of capitalism. Like it seems like the rich are getting richer, the poor is getting poorer, and it's just like no matter how hard you work, it's like it's almost hard to stay above water. You got like in bigger cities, like it's a luxury to have your own apartment to yourself.
And if you say anything about changing those things up and making life better for the average person, people will scream socialism, Marxism, communism. And I'm like, first of all, can you define those words? Do you know what those things mean? Or
can you spell it?
Is it just a boogeyman that you've been told by the wealthy who don't want you to have those things that you shouldn't want?
Yeah. So, I just think another thing I want to add on to what you said is like, when you're trying to, especially like when you're starting New Year's and you're trying to implement good habits or break bad habits, like what they say, like it takes, like 21 days to break a habit or something. Have you heard that before?
It takes a few days.
Yeah. So if you have, once you get past that threshold, usually they say if you maintain good habits, it's easier, or the chances are that you'll have more success. So I don't think people even make it past that first month. Like if you're trying to go to the gym every day, and you say, well, I went for 3 days. I went for this week. I said, let me just take a break. Ain't gonna hurt me. Well, you done broke that pattern. So you're not, you know what I mean? So you have to kind of stay consistent, and like you said, have goals to how you're going to get to this point, A, B, and C. You have to take baby steps. Like if you have this goal, you don't have like benchmarks, and you don't have, you know what I mean? Like the goal gets to, So I think that helps out too when you have benchmarks too. I think that's something I would suggest people to do instead of just having this ridiculous goal. Have points to where, I'm gonna get to this point by this day, and then and eventually it will get to the ultimate goal.
Steps are realistic.
Yeah. So, well, I think this was a really good show. We're right at the 2-hour mark. We're like a couple minutes before that, but I really want to thank you guys for coming out here. I don't take it lightly for supporting what we're trying to do and just trying to enlighten and educate the community. Hopefully we'll have our guests come back next time, or we'll have someone else come, but like in the future, we're going to try to get more people on here from the community to come on here and talk to us and educate us. Like I really want to get people on here that can teach us about finances, because unfortunately, a lot of us didn't get that education growing up, like basic things like that, about credit. A lot of us don't know about this stuff. A lot of things you think that the American education system should teach us, we didn't get that education. So I want this to be kind of like a resource where people can come and get educated. We're going to have a good time. We're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about the tea and have a good time. But we need to use platforms like this to educate the community and just promote within, because, times are changing, and we need to kind of get with the times with this age of information. We need to be that resource where people can come and learn something, so. All right. Any last words?
No, thank you all very much for listening. And please tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend, tell a friend.
Thanks for tuning in and listening to us run our mouths.
All right. And we will be back more likely we'll be back after the beginning of the year. I just want to thank you. This was a really good trial run. Next time we're gonna definitely have more clips. Last time, we just kind of put this together this week, and we just wanted to see how it would run. But I'm really pleased with how things turned out, and I'm looking forward to more episodes together. All right.
Yay. Our studio audience live.